On today's show, we talk with Douglas Taurel about how trying to impress a girl found him in a lifelong career as a successful actor. Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more, www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.sameraentertainment.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today I'm here with Douglas Taurel, actor, writer, producer, and director. Welcome, Douglas.
Hi, Renelle. Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to have you here. I was looking at all your work, and you are really good. A very strong talent with lots of emotion. What got you into this industry?
Into acting? Oh,
yes.
Shoot. Well, let's rewind the clock way back. I got into it really to impress a girl. I've shared this quite a few.
I did not expect that answer. I love that. Did it work?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. No, it didn't. It did not work, but I fell in love with acting. I was in college. I was going to a junior college, and I was heartbroken over a girl from high school, and she was going to a school not too far from me, and I wanted to do something impressive. And there was a kid in the classroom. His name, I'll never forget his name. His name was Marcus Wiley.
Oh, wow.
Great guy.
Hi, Marcus, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know where he's at. He was a black actor, and he had tons of energy, and he just one of those people when you meet, he had a smile from ear to ear 24/7. And we were in I can't remember, like a history class or something, and he was like, I'm auditioning to become an actor today. I overheard him, and he was talking to somebody else, and I said, hey man, are those auditions open? And he said, yeah, you should go. And he gave me the information, and
oh wow,
it was for a children's play, and I auditioned as an alligator. I still remember that.
Oh my God, that's cute. Okay.
Yep. And then she said, can you do any other animals? And I think I did a lion, and then she gave me a part, and then she gave me another part.
Oh, wow.
That was it. I was bit, and then she said, you're pretty good at this. If you major in theater, I can give you a partial scholarship.
Oh, so it did work. Not the way you wanted, but even better.
No, yeah. And then it was 2 years, and then after 2 years, and I had a little bit of success. I went to a theater competition there, and I was doing a Eugene O'Neill play called The Rope. God's Favorite. And I got an award for excellence in acting. And so I thought after 2 years, that was kind of it, that was the end of my acting career, because I was a jock in high school, and I played sports. And in fact, in high school, when they would bring the theater troupe in, or company to do a performance, they would make everybody go watch it in high school. And our coach would bring us in, and I would go straight to sleep.
Oh,
I would
wow.
just literally not even interested in this. This is so boring.
But I bet it helped you when you did actually fully dive into this, because you're doing some active roles. And I think athletic it probably is a good thing.
Yeah, no, obviously the physicality. I mean, acting is always physical. It's not mental. Acting is 100% physical. It's a sport.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to be an athlete of the heart, and you have to move, and you have to transform your body, and you have to, it's really physical. It can take a toll on you, but yeah, that's how it started. And then I went to Ole Miss, and I was given a full scholarship to go study acting there.
Oh, wow. You are really good. And, I was looking at you, and you reminded me just your general persona from what I have watched. Just the way you look and stuff reminds me of Bruce Willis. Don't know why.
Yeah.
Has anyone said that to you?
Yeah, a lot. In fact, if you go to my Facebook profile,
I'm so unoriginal. Wow.
I've got a.
But you know what? Everyone loves him.
No, I know, and he's dealing with dementia, and so I have a huge on my his picture of Die Hard is my profile picture.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's always been very, and people don't know about this. He was in New York, so in New York, I tried to follow some of his career path, and he did a play called True West, and he did a lot of theater. People don't know this
oh,
before
I
he
didn't
did.
know that. I adored
Yeah,
him because in the
yeah,
80s,
that's
90s.
how he got discovered. He
Whoa.
got discovered. Got discovered for moonlighting doing a play. His agent found him doing a true Sam Shepard play. I think it
And
was True
that's the
West.
very show that made me fall in love with him. I'm like, oh my God, he's awesome. The twinkle in his eye and all that. But
Yeah.
um,
No, that's literally how he got discovered.
wow, and he's special to you too. That is so cool. So, so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so when you finished college, you ended up with this degree in performing arts?
Yeah. So I'll go
I
back
skip
a couple
over, go
steps just
back.
because, yeah, just because they're all kind of connected. So after junior college, um I thought I was done. And so we were going to these major university auditions, and I had nothing planned. And Mr. Vaughn, the professor there, he said, "Are you going to audition tomorrow?" And I said, "No, I'm not auditioning. I'm just going to, support people." And he goes, "Why aren't you auditioning?" And I said, "Oh, I don't think I'm a real actor, and I think this is just, this was a 2 year stint, and got some free
Oh,
school, some free money, and I'm pretty much
yeah.
done." He goes, "Oh, yeah," and he was like, "No, no, no, you're auditioning." So he gave me a monologue, and the irony of this whole thing, which is connected, is that the monologue from a play called Lansford and Sons. It was
Okay.
by and Tally and Son by Lansford Wilson. Sorry, Tally and Son by Lansford Wilson, and
Oh,
the
okay.
monologue was about a dead Vietnam soldier who comes home, and he's dead, but his spirit comes back, and he gets to watch his family move on, and
Oh,
he watches
wow.
he watches. Some of them are in mourning, some of them have moved on, don't even think about him anymore, and it's really about Vietnam, and it's about other things,
Oh,
but it's a
wow.
really interesting. So I did that monologue, and I'll never forget. He told me, when you start the monologue, make sure you yell really loud. And so I did that, and like all these major universities, there. Just imagine a big room. You go on a platform, and all these universities from around the South are there to kind of watch you.
And it falls
And
silent.
yeah, I heard pencils fall and everything. And
Wow.
so I got
Oh
a
my
couple offers, and
gosh.
Ole Miss was one of them. And I went to Ole Miss, and that monologue stayed with me. And so after college, I was pretty much I was in love with acting, and I was trying to find a way. I'm from Houston, so I came back to Houston to find my footing. And when I was in Houston, I met a theater director who said, you should think about going to New York. If you really want to pursue, your career in acting. And I said, New
Oh,
York is
wow.
so far away. So anyhow, I met my wife now, who was my girlfriend then, and she wanted to get out from Houston, and she's from Scotland, and she was working in the oil business, and she wanted to go back to school. So we said, well, listen, look, I
Let's
want to
give
go
it
either
a
LA
whirl.
or let's give it a go.
Wow.
So we both went to New York, and I auditioned for a very legendary theater director. He passed away during COVID. His name is Win Hanman. He taught
Oh,
everybody. He
hope
was
it took a lot. Wow.
oh yeah, he was the who's who of theater directors, and he had a beautiful off Broadway play, and he was if people Google him, he taught everybody, and
And
he taught in
he
Carnegie
cast you?
Hall, and what's that?
He cast you?
No, so I auditioned for him when I got to New York, and what I didn't know is that he was in World War II. He served in the Navy, and so when I did this monologue for him, this really
Oh,
soldier butch monologue for him, he liked it. I had a horrible audition, and I really felt like I had a horrible audition.
right.
And you had to audition in front of someone to get the permission to audition for him,
Oh,
and
wow.
that was the filter process. And little did I know that doing this monologue of a dead soldier would kind of be my artistic mission. So after that, stayed in New York for about kind of planted my flag in New York and studied with him for about 4 years. And you do what actors do. You audition your butt off and get roles.
Yep, yep. Wow.
That's
Was
how it started.
was that monologue the first time that you had encountered in acting a vet?
I think so. I mean, I didn't know he was a vet. I found out later. And I remember he taught two classes twice. He had a day class and a night class. The night class was Tuesday and Thursday nights. And that was the class that was working well for my schedule. And I remember when I finished the audition, I thought I was done. I thought like, oh man, I bombed this. I was really nervous. I mean, you just have to imagine, as a kid from Texas coming to Carnegie Hall to audition, you're just terrified.
Oh, yeah, I can't even. Wow. But that
And
kind of was where you started your journey with being in when you're in character a vet, right?
yeah, and him when I got accepted into his class, he started giving me. There was this book called Company K. And it was a book of monologues that a World War II veteran wrote about letters of his experience in World War II. And he understood. He was a great director, but he just said
Sounds like it.
yeah, he would constantly give me these pieces. Always. I remember one time I was like, Win, I am so tired of doing these letters, man. And he's like, they fit you well. Keep doing them. And when his process was really character driven,
right?
So he would give you a piece or a monologue from a play, or you would work on a play, but he really forced you to figure out who it was you were playing, who's the character. He had a great phrase: "We don't care about you, we only care about the character."
Oh, wow, that is good.
So yeah, so he was like, who are you playing? What does he want? What was his letter to the world? What does he want people to feel? What does he want people to want? That's your job to figure out, who is this person? Where is he from? Why is he talking this way? Why is he behaving this way? What's going on in his life? And so you really learned character acting. I mean, and out of his class, Eric Bogosian came with the solo show out of there. John Leguizamo came out of Wynn's class. So his work, and his work kind of, a lot of famous solo show artists came out of there mainly because, it's kind of what the work you would do in his class. You would do character work, you would do monologues, you would do plays, and if you were working on a play and you had trouble, you would you'd have to bring the character in, what he would call character interviews.
Right.
So if you bombed, he would say, "Okay, Doug, next week come in." Next class, come in. You're going to do a character interview. So that means you would come in as character. You would sit in the middle of the stage, and he would say, "Okay, so what's going on with you?" Let's say you were doing, I know, Stanley from Streetcar.
Oh, wow.
Say, "What's going on, Stanley?" He goes, "What's going on with you?" And then you would talk,
as if you're Stanley. I love that. I do that when I audition people. I want them to know the character, so I will improv with them. But I guess, would you call that method?
No, it's not method, because method would be like, okay, Doug, sit there and, think about when this happened to you and when you were felt, go back to your personal life and find that emotion. The way he would always explain it is by going into a character interview and starting to understand organically what is going on with the character that you're playing or what the writer's trying to tell you, it organically becomes a way of you kind of sliding into the skin of the character. You start because subconsciously we always have these things going on inside of us. You always have, throughout the course of a day, you play a rainbow of people. You play angry. Sometimes you act like a bad person. You act like a good person.
True.
Yeah, you're just a rainbow. We're never black and white throughout the day. Some
more than others are rainbow people. Like, I love that. I've never heard that before, but you're right. We go through the gamut of emotions every day.
Emotions every day. And so that's always inside you. So when you start talking out loud, that's the key, is talking out loud. Because again, acting is it's a physical sport. So you want to talk it out loud. It's not about you thinking about it. It never works that way. And I think that's a mistake a lot of young actors do. They think about it and they try to analyze it, but it's a physical sport. And so when you talk it out loud, it does two things. It taps into those emotions that are already inside you,
Right.
and you start understanding the character, and then it changes it changes your physicality, and then you start to
Right.
feel like the character. And you would go through that, and then you understand. Then you say, well, why are you so angry?
Yeah.
I'm the king of this house. I'm the king of this house, and I'm the one who should be, I'm the one who should be making the rules around here. And then you would get it. You would just start feeling the emotion of the character. You're like,
I
okay,
love
now
that.
let's do the scene now. Go do the scene. And you'd
I
be like,
love it.
and
Oh,
you're
wow.
just now you understand Stanley. You understand what Stanley's going through. So it's not method, but you understand organically what he's going through. And acting is it's make believe, and you
Definitely
make
gives
believe
life
that
to
Stanley.
your character. A
Yeah,
whole,
you understand your angry, your physicality, the way
yeah.
you hold yourself, and sometimes he'd ask you, okay, walk around like the character, walk around, and you're like, what's going on with your shoulders? I'm stressed, I'm angry. So go grab your shoulders, you grab your shoulders, and you're like, and then you would say, that's perfect. And then you would find bits in that interview that you would do within the scene. You're always grabbing your shoulder, and you're just like,
I
and
love the
so
way he did this. This is brilliant. Wow.
yeah. And so you would I remember I can't remember the play, but um I think it was a Sam Shepard play, but I think it was Live the Mind, but I can't remember. But he was like, what's going on, Doug? And I said, oh, I feel like a fucking caged lion in here, man. He goes, well, then roar. Then I would roar. I would roar, and then he's like, do the scene. And then when I was doing the scene, I would just every once in a while, I would just like explode with anger, and he's like,
Yeah,
okay,
that
now
guttural outburst.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And then what kind of, how are you walking around? What kind of animal are you? Fucking
Wow.
orangutan, man. And your arms would drop. And then he'd be like, that's it. That's it. Do the scene. And
Do
then you
it.
would,
Do it. I love this. I'm going to steal this next time I'm
yeah.
working on one of my features.
No, he was a genius, man. He was
It
a
is
genius. If you look him up,
amazing. When you
if you
you
look him
were
up,
working on stage mostly in the beginning then, when did you
yeah.
transition into like television and film?
Well, I mean, that's what you do as an actor in New York. You're trying to, I mean, that's your dream to get cast in TV and film. So you do plays, and you study with great teachers. I was there in the early 2000s, and it was it was a beautiful time to be in New York, because there was a lot of
Yeah,
great
yeah.
teachers. And New York was still it's just not
Full
the
of
way it is.
life.
Yeah, it was full of life, and there was a lot of young actors, and it was expensive still, but it wasn't like the way it is now. It was doable for a young actor to still go chase
Yeah,
your dream. There's a
yeah.
lot of actors there. And so then you would audition, and you do plays, and you meet a casting director, and you do the old, you knock on casting directors' doors, drop your headshot off, and like in the old days, you slip it underneath their desk. I mean, underneath their door. And some casting directors say, actors, leave headshot here, don't knock on door.
Yeah,
Sometimes be
yeah.
balls enough
They're
to knock on.
untouchable. That's some of them. But you have an
Yeah.
impressive like resume. Like you've been working really consistently and a lot in television. Do you have any favorite, projects that you've done?
There's so many. I
There
think my
are.
TV series. Yeah, my TV series Landing Home was it's my favorite because it's mine. But
Pretty
I
epic.
wrote it.
And on that one, you did
Yeah,
everything, right?
yeah,
Writing,
yeah. I wrote it
producing.
and I directed it, and I produced it, and I starred in it. And you do that, as as a producer, Renell. You do that because I didn't. I mean, obviously, as a producer, you're always very weary of having your name on so many different titles.
This is
But
true. Yeah.
but budget is always a challenge, right? And so you're trying to work. What can I do to save money to use somewhere else? And so for me, the budget I had, I was like, because it was all guerrilla. It was mostly my funding. I had some people who donated money, but for the most part, it was my money. And
You got to make
you're
it
like,
go
okay,
as
well,
far as possible. It's hard.
yeah. And so you're like, okay, well, I need a good DP, and that's going to cost me this much, and then your crew and this much. So okay, well, and then you talk to directors, and they want this much money. You're like, well, that's too much money. I can't afford that, so I'll direct it. And then
Was that the first
then
time you had directed?
Yeah.
Were you
And for such
terrified, or it just came
no,
natural?
it actually came natural to me. And again, a lot of it is because I've been acting for so long. And so
Yeah,
you know, as I always tell people, I've been directed by some really bad directors.
and some
So
really good ones. So
yeah, and really good ones. So you know what to do and what not to do. And then as an actor, you have the luxury of taking bits and pieces that work for you
yeah.
and discarding the rest and using it. And I know how to talk to actors because I know how I want to be talked to. And to me, what I learned out of directing is storyboarding. That is your homework as a
Oh
director.
my
And
gosh, storyboarding and shot lists. I cannot stand their work without them. And there are people that do. And I just feel like you
crazy.
never get the coverage or all the things you want. I'm not an actress, but those are two things that I need. And it
Yeah.
amazes me how people can just walk in there and know in their head, okay, I want to do this, this, and that. But then when you sit down in the editing room, you don't have what
No,
you
no,
need, and you can't go back
never.
and redo it because there's no
No,
budget.
no, you can't. It's people who say they can do that. They're
Yeah,
lying.
yeah.
And
So I
yeah.
noticed like some of your work because you have a one-man show that you have toured around with. You were telling me about it, and I think you said 8 years.
Yeah, I wrote it in um started working on it like right after 9/11 because
Oh wow.
I was not too far from the North Tower when 9/11 happened.
Oh wow,
So
that's a memory and whoa.
yeah, and so that would that kind of got me really
Motivated.
motivated to write something about it, and so I started creating the project then. But then, it really what the play what it is now, I would say it started really being put together like in 2010, 2011,
Okay.
and then I finally hook and crook and meeting different people, workshopping it, and meeting with my director Patrick Lillis. And in 2015, I did my first performance. I did it for 8 people on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, a place called the Bowery Poetry Club.
Sounds like a
And
perfect place to start.
oh yeah, it was
I love
crazy
it.
because yeah, I wasn't, when I first created it and I had it, I couldn't find a festival that would say yes. I think
Oh
everyone was like,
wow.
yeah, because at that time, 2010, 2012. We were pretty heavy involved in the Middle East. And at that time, New York was so like, involved with 9/11 and the terrorism and security
Yeah,
and all
that
that.
the
And so
pain
people were,
lasts a long time with that. And
yeah.
yeah. I
So people
imagine
were
your
kind of
show's
burnt out.
pretty deep, right? Like it
It is.
kinda,
It is
yeah.
really deep. So
So
by
how did
then,
it go over?
so no one, what's that?
The first time you did it, how did it go over?
So yeah, in 2015, I got it. Well, when I first, so no one, everyone said, no, we're not really interested into it. And so I couldn't find a festival. So then in 2015, this festival called One on One Festival said yes. And it was 20 minutes. And the producer said, hey, I had someone drop out of the festival. Can you jump in?
Oh
I know
wow.
you submitted a, and I said, yeah, I can. She goes, well, you have to be off book, which means memory. And she says, uh, I'm going to pair you with this other festival, this other play, one woman show, and you got to be here on Monday of Memorial Weekend. And I think it was Memorial Day, and I said, okay, sure, great, awesome. So I told my director I got this festival, and she paired me up with a girl who was overweight and having trouble losing weight, called the Big Skinny, and I was like, oh, great, this is going to be great.
Oh
And
wow. Yeah, that's
and
based on a book that person wrote, I think, too. That's interesting.
that I don't know, but it was just a weird combination of
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it is. I can see
but
why.
I got my first yes, and I did it, and there was like 8 people. It was a rainy night, and it was like I literally felt like no one was going to be there, and there wasn't anybody there really. It was just 8 people, but was
That's
really nervous, but
huge in a
I
way.
got my voice, yeah, and I got my voice, and I felt for the first time I felt the voice of the play, and then afterwards, a Gold Star sister, family member, came up to me and said, Gold Star, for those of you who don't know, are family members who've lost families who have lost family members.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask what that is. Oh, wow. Okay.
And so she said, I lost my brother in Afghanistan, and I think what you're doing is really important, and I hope you don't stop. And I said, yeah, I thank you for your service, and she gave me a big old hug, and she was really emotional. And
Oh,
but after that play, my director was like, both of us were like, man, I think we might be on to something here.
yeah.
So I really thought that was going to be a one-off. And then I took it to Scotland to do it at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, and it got
Oh,
nominated for an
wow.
Amnesty Award there. And then it sold out there. And then after that, every year I've been touring the play throughout the country. And
I
this year I'll
love
be at
that.
Ed City.
Have you had a lot of vets like recognize you for this or talk to you about it?
Yeah, no, I'm friends with a lot of vets. I mean, tons of them, and I've become friends with. I mean, I've done this play for
Eight
8 years.
years
So
or something. That's
yeah,
fantastic. I love that. Um,
yeah, and
so
I mean,
y- you've kind of done everything. You've done like dramas and you've played cops, good guys. I think you played a few bad guys.
yeah,
And clearly vets have a special place in your heart. And, we talked about a little bit about, giving voice to them. That's the importance behind that. But if you had a dream role that you haven't done yet, what would that be?
on TV, you mean?
TV or film, just some type of role you're like dreaming of doing.
Yeah, I like to be a regular a cop on a TV show,
Oh, I love
um,
that. Okay. My
trying
my
to help.
dream is to land a TV show somehow to get one made. I've written a
There you
few,
go.
but it's so hard.
Yeah, no, I like to play a cop, something like a detective or a cop who is helping people.
I like it.
And
It's a little bit of
yeah,
edge, maybe.
yeah, a little bit of edge, but a lot of empathy and a lot of care for a community. I mean, that's always been a dream of mine.
I love
Something,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah, that'd be good.
yeah, something like that, a series regular that, yeah, I'm thinking of Big Sky or something. They had some really good police officers in that. There was a male detective or chief of police or something they brought in the last season. That was a great show. Um, there's so many, but what advice would you give to somebody now that wants to break into, acting and performing or even directing, producing, or writing?
Great question. Create your own work. I tell people all the time, if I can go back 25 years ago, I would have started this creating my own stuff from the
Yeah,
get go. And
yeah,
it's so much easier now. Now you've got an iPhone and shoots 4K, shoots cinematically. You can write a short scene, shoot it on an iPhone, upload it, edit it on Final Cut or even iMovie,
yeah, yeah.
submit it to hundreds of festivals, and you can build your resume. I mean, it's to me,
Those credentials going. That's how I
yep,
started because I started as a screenwriter. After losing my eyesight, it's a long story, but I ended up, I can see now, by the way, somewhat anyway, but I ended up writing these full-length feature films and getting people to look at them and getting them in front of the right people is hard, but it's such a visual world. Somebody
yeah,
was like, well, why don't you make a short based on your feature? And it was funny because my first short, I hired everybody and my director didn't show up and I started freaking out, but I had this amazing DP who was like an Emmy winner. And I'm like, what do I do? Do I send everyone home? And he says, no, you're going to direct it. And this is what you need to
there
do.
you go.
And yeah, and he put me on the spot because my I was like felt so defeated. But after that, I was hooked and I started like taking classes and doing every darn thing I could possibly do. And the rest is kind of history now. But I made my own
That's so true.
thing.
I had a lot of fires put out when I was, creating Landing Home. I had the same similar thing on the first day of shooting. My sound guy didn't show up,
Oh
and
God.
I remember I'm really organized, and I had a lot of emails from people that I interviewed, and I
Yeah.
remember my DP goes, "Hey, Doug, where's our sound guy?" He goes, "What do you mean? He should be on set right now." I
Oh
was
no.
dealing with the lead actor. He goes, "There's no sound people here, man." I said, "You got to be kidding me!" So I headed over there and I called the guy and basically stood me up, and he just,
Oh,
and I was like, so I started getting on my emails and started reaching out, and luckily my AD had some old recording equipment in his car, and so we were able to shoot one scene. And by the time we were shooting that scene,
the
I had
next guy came.
the next guy came in, but you learn, and I had other fires, had tons of stuff, and
Oh
it was
yeah,
the best way to learn. It really is. You
is to
learn
do.
is to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Sounds
learn
like
by
you're
fire.
really good at troubleshooting. Like you stayed calm and went with the plan B. And I think that is one of the critical elements of, at least on the indie film level,
You have
is
to.
to be able to roll with it. Because and like sound, if your sound guy doesn't show up, 9 times out of 10, the equipment is coming with them when you're at the indie level.
Yeah.
So you could be screwed, but you figured it out, and you had it. Sounds like you had a good AD and a decent team.
Yeah, and I had starting out as an actor, I did a lot of indie film projects. I mean, a lot of indie film projects,
Oh wow, okay.
and I shot a lot of horror films.
They
I've been
tend to do
upstate.
well.
I've been upstate New York and New Jersey a lot. I remember
Oh wow.
it got to a point at one time I was like, man, I think I shot here before.
Oh
Um,
no.
Shot in
You
cabins,
redid
and
one.
it's because it's the cheapest way to do it. You go up
Yeah.
there. It's hardly any cost for location, and somebody knows somebody who has a cabin, or you rent a cabin for a weekend, and you shoot a horror film, or some thriller.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do it. And
Yeah.
um, but you know, I worked with some really great indie directors. I mean, really, really, really great indie directors who were really creative, and I saw them go through their fires, as an actor, um, and learn how to roll with the punches. Learn, this doesn't work, or saw actors have becoming divas, and
Yeah.
understanding
Yeah.
how they dealt with it, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. And in fact, when I shot Landing Home, the other advice I'd give people is, you know, there's so much advice out there. I mean, there's so many people you can reach out to, that I would always say reach out to directors who you have a relationship with, and take them to lunch or coffee and ask them the do's and not to do's. And
Yes.
they give
Yeah.
you advice. You get to they become like your mentors, and a lot of them gave me advice, and how to shoot. Make sure you get angles. One guy said, always say hi to everybody, get everybody's name. Always be.
I'm learning that still. It's really important to network and
Yeah,
kind of just keep expanding your, I guess, your base of people that, are part of your, I guess network is the word.
it is. It is.
What a great story. What do you have coming up?
Right now, I'm trying to write the second season to Landing Home.
Oh wow.
My play, which is really busy. Starting in September.
Good.
Oh,
Well, you have summer to hang with the kids or something.
yeah, but September I really get off. I mean, I take off for the play. I mean, I do 8 cities.
Oh wow. Where
So
can people watch Landing Home?
they can see it on Amazon, Apple, Google Play, Vudu, Tubi.
Awesome. And you have a season 2 you're working on. I love that. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah. So if people want to find you, Douglas, where would they look?
It's pretty simple. I'm on Facebook as Douglas Taurel, and on Instagram at Douglas Taurel. Same with Twitter at Douglas Taurel.
So if they want to find you, they just need to find Douglas Taurel,
Yeah,
Taurel.
yeah, you are. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I'm
not.
so bad with names, like
That's it.
spelling. So, it's been so awesome to talk to you. If you're up for it, I usually ask people 5 questions at the end of every interview so that people listening can learn a little bit more about who you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, now there'll be a test. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So here we go. Number one, what is your favorite food?
Oh, shoot. So many. But I love Mexican food.
You can just say food. No.
Yeah.
Mexican food is awesome. It is all of it.
It's
I love it.
hard for me to say no to a good taco.
Oh, there you go. Oh, so you love Tuesdays, right? It's a thing
Yes.
everywhere, isn't it? In the US, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
taco. I love Mexican food. Salsas. I make my own salsa, so
oh,
I
nice.
I have a like addiction to salsas.
Oh, serious? I love that. Extra spicy or just nice and tasty?
Yeah, extra spicy. Sometimes too spicy.
Oh gosh.
I had one in Utah that I bought, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had to drink a half gallon of milk to calm myself down.
You know what? We my son was born when we lived in New Mexico, and they have when you go into the restaurants, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they have the temperature of the peppers that day. And if you buy a salsa for certain ones, you have to sign a waiver. I guess they could kill
Are you
you.
serious?
Yes.
Great.
We lived in Albuquerque, and I was like, what? What is this? I bought some for my brother-in-law. I'm like, well, I hope he doesn't die, but he loves super hot stuff, you know?
That's great.
It's too weird. But okay, second question. What is your favorite thing to drink after a long day on set?
Oh, that's pretty simple. Bourbon.
Bourbon. Yeah, gotta get the smooth bourbon and just mellow out, huh?
Yeah, a bourbon with one ice cube is I'm good to go.
Yeah. Are your kids little or old?
The middle. I mean, my son is 13 and my girl is 10.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question because parents get it. All right. If you had to hide in your house to get some time alone where no one would bother you, where would you go?
I have to stay in the
I
house
want to know the answer, but my kids are grown up.
and I have to stay in the house, right?
You have to, well, I mean, you could sneak out if it's still like in the yard.
I would probably in my house, I can go to the rooftop. I would go to the rooftop.
Oh, that's cool.
I've done that and my family's gone nuts looking for me.
I love that.
And so I'll go to
Okay.
the rooftop. But
I
then my
kind of want to
dog,
try that, but we have lightning here, but I could
yeah,
try it.
yeah. We have like it's like a little patio on the rooftop. But my dog will sometimes sell me out because he's
Oh,
I got a Vizsla and they're known as Velcro dogs and he's really attached to me.
oh, that's funny. How
So
cute though.
yeah, when I go up there, he'll be looking for me all over the place, and then he'll go up to the top and he'll start squeaking, and then my
Oh,
kids will hear him squeak, and they're like, "Oh, Dad's up top."
Dad's there again. I love that though. What a great answer.
Yeah,
Okay. Number 4, favorite song to sing at the top of your lungs when you're driving in the car.
"Learning to Fly" by Tom Petty.
Oh, that's cool. That is so cool. Okay, this last one is this is usually really hard for film people, which is why I ask it. But what is your favorite movie?
Okay, I mean, there's so many.
No, that's
I
why I
mean,
asked.
uh, I'll tell you, if The Godfather or Shawshank are on, I'm watching it.
Okay, both really good movies.
Yeah, and I've seen them. I mean, I don't know how
More
many times.
times than you want to admit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would probably put. I mean, it depends on the day, but I would say Godfather is probably my favorite film. But there's so. I mean,
I'm dying to do a mafia movie, and I have a script called Rico, and I would love to do a mafia movie, and I've even broken it down as a TV series. But it's one of those. It's not quite a bucket list, but it's one that it would be so fun to do
Oh
mafia.
yeah, you know, and Marlon Brando's to know the story of Brando in that movie. You know, he was a genius because at that
Yeah.
time the studio didn't want Brando. He was really a troubled actor, and they told Coppola, it's like, no, we're not funding this film with Brando, and Coppola,
Wow.
he fought really hard, and they had to do it. And people forget, you know, Brando was already a mega star, but they made Brando do a screen test,
Oh my
and
God.
which is unheard of for.
That's when he put like the cotton in his mouth, right? He won
Yeah,
them over by something he did. Was
well,
it
yeah.
that?
So Brando, I mean, Coppola told Brando, he says, "Look, I need to test. I'm testing a new camera lens, and I want to see how it works."
Oh, so
And
he didn't want to tell him you have to do a
no, no, but because it was like an insult to screen testing.
Right,
I mean,
right.
he was already a superstar, you know, but
Oh, wow.
he was already, you know, he was costing the studio so much money that they had basically blacklisted him. They said, you know, we're not ever doing a film with Brando again. And so that's
Wow.
where he put, and when he was doing the screen test for this makeup, apparently, quote, makeup test, he goes, Coppola said, "What are you doing? What are you putting in your mouth?" He goes, "Well, I feel like he's kind of like he's like a pit bull, a bulldog. He's always he's always apologizing as a bulldog."
Oh my God, I love
I
it.
think that's where I'm going to put some cotton in my mouth. And he put that cotton in his mouth, and boom, that was
I love it. Oh, wow. Wow.
the Godfather. And then the other cool thing about that movie, I mean, I can go on, but I'll finish with this. I mean,
Okay.
the opening of the movie. So if anybody who's seen The Godfather, have you seen it?
Yes. I love them.
So you know that in the beginning of the movie, that the actor is going, the character is going, "Godfather, this is a glorious day. May this day bless you with a glorious child." And he's just repeating his lines.
Yeah.
Over and over. Well, that guy was an actual mob guy. He was
my God, really?
And he actually had a huge part in the movie, but he couldn't memorize his lines. I mean, he was like a real mobster. And Coppola found him and put him in the movie. He couldn't memorize his lines. So they didn't know what to do with him. They didn't want to piss that dude off because he was a real mobster.
Yeah, that could go badly.
Yeah, so they kind of wrote the character as this guy who's just in awe of the Godfather and constantly apologizing to him, and they made him a hitman. They changed his character. So in the scene and Brando was known for this. Brando was really known for being a genius improv actor. He was just, the cat scene in there wasn't supposed to be there. He saw a stray cat on set, and he picked it up and he brought it in. He was very tactical, and he was a genius. Everything he did was a genius. In fact, when he got discovered by when he's just, what's her name? I can't remember, but she's very famous.
Okay.
But when he auditioned for her, she gave everybody this test. She said, "I want everybody to act like there's an atom bomb going around," and everyone was running around, and Marlon Brando was just sitting still, not moving. And she says, "Marlon, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, there's an atom bomb going around. What's the point of moving?" And so he was like that. So in the scene, when he has the scene with this actor who can't memorize his line, this mobster, after the scene, Brandon goes, he just shrugs his shoulders, goes, "What are you going to do?"
Oh my God, I love it.
All impromptu, saying, what can you do? The guy can't memorize his lines.
Oh my God, I didn't know any of this. This is so cool.
Yeah, no, wow. I can go on. And
you really do love that movie.
Oh, I do. And I love acting, and I have a deep passion for the history of acting. And when I studied at Carnegie Hall, Marlon Brando actually lived in Carnegie Hall.
Oh, wow.
And Carnegie Hall, when it was built, it was actually built for artists. And so that's what originally that's what the building was built for. So you had a lot of artists there. They got kicked out in 2005 and 6. They turned all commercial, but
what a great memory and story, though. That's fantastic.
So his apartment was above Wynn's class in Carnegie Hall. So before every scene, all the guy actors would go and touch his door for good luck.
Oh, wow. You have a lot of cool information. I wish we had more time, because this is some cool stuff I had no idea about. But I want to thank you for joining me today. And if you have anything coming up or you want to come back, just let me know. I'd love to hear more of these stories.
Well, this was fun. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yes, thank you. And I wish you a great day, and hope to work with you soon.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Today's show is sponsored by Gym Kitty, helping women on their health and wellness journey by providing high-quality, organically sourced vitamins and supplements. Visit them today at www.gymkitty.net. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode, where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast has been sponsored by Samara Entertainment.